Welcome to Nutshells in a Nutshell, a retrospective look back at the series single-handedly keeping my channel alive, paying the bills, and the A-word was a massive exaggeration. It was a lucky fluke really, an accidental accident where the right things came together at the right time. By that I mean I was out of ideas for content, full of salt, sass, sarcasm, other S-words, and needed to vent. After all, it was 2017, my opinion is fact, no one else matters, and I'm constantly offended by everything. Inspired at the time by two things: one, Gold Vision's thoughtful yet deadpan delivery in his GTA 5 Pacifist series, and two, my spirit animal in YouTube channel form, CinemaSins. The format really spoke to me, criticize every possible thing in every movie ever in a super unreasonable way. I wasn't really into movies, but I was into video games, and hence Monotone Complainy Guy was born. It was destiny. The video game, I mean, not the vague esoteric belief in a hidden power controlling all future events. Philosophy is scary and I'm just a guy. The formula is predictable: start with a random intro, drag it out as long as possible for one reason: those subtitles are super annoying to do. Welcome to Iron Banner in a Nutshell, a monotone, sarcastic look at the worst game mode currently available in Destiny. Due to a combination of popular demand and an obvious lack of creativity from me, here we are again. Let me just check I have everything: my sarcastic monotone voice, check. The text on the screen so you can keep up with what I'm saying, also check. Welcome back to another unoriginal video. I'm your host, TH3Jez, aka Monotone Complainy Guy with no talent and less self-esteem. Why do you think I do YouTube? Various aspects of Destiny, but in a nutshell summarized format. I'm Monotone Complainy Guy, and this is Destiny 2 Strikes in a Nutshell. Welcome to a game I like to call not Destiny 2, so ultimately irrelevant console RNG slot machine. It's good to be back, or is it? YouTube stopped demonetizing my videos, for God's sake. Even the video titled "Please No Demonetized" got demonetized. Is nothing safe. Then I usually proceed with what can only be described as the most mediocre gameplay ever to be gamed, and while the first nutshell video was a bunch of non-sequitur statements beginning with the word "the," it'll make more sense if I show you. The perfectly timed Nova Bomb, but next time 3 seconds earlier, for God's sake, Akuma. The auto rifle backstab surprise, followed by the trademark Storm Trance Fist of Havoc. Don't worry, you're a skilled player, double bag, TM. The easiest shot I've ever missed, please solo Nova just to rub it in. The longest non-Thunderstrike melee I've ever seen. Don't worry, Warlocks are fine, I'm not triggered. Securing my 10 kill streak and bringing me one step closer to every Guardian's ultimate goal. Shax's approval. Subsequent nutshell videos followed a somewhat linear, nonsensical story with a beginning, middle, and end, jam-packed with all the salt in the universe, also tears, also loneliness, somebody help me. It's now round 2 and I hope you brought your icebreaker, because special ammo doesn't exist for another 30 seconds. Or in this case, an eternity. I guess you could equip a sidearm, and by sidearm I obviously mean wormwood, because having more than one viable weapon per archetype just isn't Bungie's style. Neither is fun or balance. Someone on the enemy team has been error-coded, not a problem, surely he can just reconnect. Oh wait, that's not a thing, because I guess game development is hard. They tried their hardest, but obviously we're always going to lose because, well, dead meme, better luck next time. Multiple records. Here I place my grenade in what I think is a strategic position, only to realize I left it on the bar like an empty beer bottle, my bad. The fact that I couldn't kill this Warlock in a 1v1 is probably the most angry I've been in the last 7 years, including the time I came home to find someone had finished off my Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream, the greatest ice cream ever to be iced. Reeling from my loss, I failed this jump once, almost twice in a row, prematurely ending my own career in the worst possible way. Losing to the X button. Before we proceed with subsequent nutshell videos, I feel it necessary to mention the birth of a certain meme that still haunts me to this day. At the end of Iron Banner in a Nutshell, there was an incident and I was forced to brutally end a fellow gamer's career. Roll the clip. My final game, and I solidified myself as the Titan Slayer once and for all. Enter ASAP Falcon running at me with his head down, solo slam at the ready. I proceed to smoke him like a cigar and no-scope him from existence. One life later, he tries to get his solo slamming revenge by slamming me and only me, Han style. Today's just not his day, however, and for the second time in a row, I emerge victorious as Jez, the Titan Slayer, slayer of all titans. Since that day, the internet has bestowed upon me the eternally permanent title of Titan Slayer, and it's one I carry with honor, pride, and a hint of regret, knowing full well in that moment my career peaked and it's only downhill from here. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Next up was Crucible in a nutshell, because MCG's fuel is salt, and the Crucible is the saltiest salt mine ever to be mined. By far. Confirming my worst fears, I find the second Time Lord, Lord of all time, on the enemy team. He solo slams my teammate and then rewinds, undoubtedly trying to take back his heinous crime. I'm then approached by a Stormcaller Warlock in Storm Trance, or as I like to call them, God himself. Me and the Time Lord Titan, known locally as Kevin, have a completely normal engagement where he plays with the space-time continuum at will. Meanwhile, I consider just plugging my router into a bucket of water to acquire similar skills. Next game, and Kevin the Time Lord is up to his old tricks. He solo slams me once and then is about to immediately slam again, but stops himself, not wanting to reveal his time-traveling abilities. Later that match, Smelly_Ice undies thinks this is the year 2 jug meta, get your head out of your ass. Meanwhile, expressive optimistic guy, aka fake IRL Jez, flew to the Destiny 2 reveal event and 2 more nutshell videos were born, Destiny 2 PvP/strikes in a nutshell. Round 1 and some absolute serial killer has put the settings on inverted, making me immediately triggered. The nightmare continues as I discover it's also on jumper, watch me flail around like a Magikarp using splash, they call me Jez the fish flopper, flopper of all fish. I try to press square to set the charge, which ironically stops me from shooting the guy literally in my crosshairs. Someone else gets the kill, and in a fit of rage, I slide straight into this wall. I'm actually 3 years old. I pick him up like the MLG res spamming teammate that I am, but of course he's in his menu. It seems his mission is to trigger me until I kill myself IRL, or at least quit the game. I'm happy with either. Annoyed, yet more determined than ever, I decided to wait the full 20 seconds in front of the ammo. Teammate, I dare you to try and take it from me. I'll literally fight you IRL. After all, he's sitting right next to me. Okay, well, that was a headshot, I guess, and now that I'm feeling like a god, I push up only to get absolutely sniped by what I can only assume is Saladin's Vigil, the sequel. By the way, that was Mr. Fruit, really disappointing to be honest, ruining my gameplay for the sake of his own gameplay, get exposed. It's all up to me again, and what do you know, I'm deliberately targeted by Mr. Fruit dancing around the corner like a Latin American corner dancing fairy, quite unbelievable. Let's get started, and obviously my first comment is about the name. My spire is forming, although now that it's inverted, I'm not sure how to feel about anything, especially my spire. I stick to what I know, which is to fail my first jump immediately and then spam shade step to recover because I'm just a good player. I've immediately fallen behind, ripped my gameplay. It's not like I flew for 16 hours and then waited in line for 2 hours past my appointment just to record this footage. Oh wait. In anticipation of PvP, I'm already practicing my no-scopes on this cabal. You wish you were as hardcore as me, I'm Jez the no-scoper, scoper of all no's. Almost immediately, we take our first casualty, and while I'm distracted by these stupid dogs, I get annihilated from behind. Yes, I literally got drilled from behind, I couldn't think of any other way to say it, let's just move on. By the way, is that white stuff Vex milk? I'm pretty sure that's Vex milk, I don't know whether to be intrigued or disgusted, like what actually is that stuff? I try to touch it, but it's no bueno, so I decide to take 5, have a quick nap, and get rested up. After what felt like an eternity, we finally kill the boss, and I do something in the heat of the moment that I'm not proud of. With Destiny 2 not out yet, and like every YouTuber ever being desperate for content and views and validation, Monotone complainy guy played 2 of the 4 Destiny 1 raids, also other numbers. Anyway, here's what happened. It's the second damage phase, but I prefer intimidation to DPS, always have, so I let my teammates do the work while I look really menacing. Scotty immediately dies, self-reses, and dies again, because that's just the kind of player he is. I go back because Scotty legitimately doesn't know the way. There's always that one teammate who raids all the time, but still has no idea what's going on. We go back to orbit, I can't remember how to launch the weekly raid, it's been a while, I find it eventually though, what a PvE god. It's at this point my teammate Akuma says we should just quote, dab on all the haters, unquote. I spent some time pondering what this could possibly mean as we slaughter countless dregs at approximately 1 frame per second. I watch in awe as Akuma does all of the damage ever with his extremely fair and reasonable super known as Jesus, but way more powerful. I continue my reign as Jez the no-scoper, scoper of all knows, trust me it makes sense, by firing 2 warning shots either side of this Vandal 100% on purpose. The dreaded 2 people empowered at mid happens, while simultaneously I miss 5 point-blank shots on a shank barely moving. No one rotates, resulting in a wipe, but I'm too busy swearing vengeance on every shank ever. My beef with Titan's over, I'm now Jez the Shank Slayer, slayer of all shanks. Dear shanks, I'll shank you if it's the last thing I shanking do, sincerely Jez. Okay, one more, shanks, more like skanks, am I right? I don't know how many times I was allowed to say the word shank this video, but I think it's safe to say I've used up my allowance for at least the rest of my career. Any and all uses of the word shank will be censored from now until the end of time. Things are as they should be when I realize we have 5 Night Stalkers and 1 Titan Hunter Master race, unless you're playing PvP. In which case, lol stickies, lightning grenades, thunderstrike range, warlock melee in general, Titan skating, self-res, flame shield, shoulder charge, panic slams, stormcaller aka Jesus the super, and stickies. I know I said that already, but I mean come on. Then I have a showdown with my old nemesis. The X button. You win this round. I'm almost immediately out 1v1'd by this Boomer Knight who apparently is more accurate than 90% of Guardians in PvP. Next round, my career is ended by 2 of the sweatiest acolytes I've ever seen while I'm being sniped by the KJ Hovey of Boomer Knights. He's enraged, I would be too. We did slap him with a giant sword, but come on, the way he kneels, it's just too perfect. That's why I'm Jez the sword slapper, slapper of all swords. Don't take that out of context. We've got this one in the bag, let me just shoot these rockets. Just kidding you noobs, I was never gonna let you kill me, get outplayed. I'm Crota the raid troll of this raid. The Destiny 1 nutshell content well seemingly run dry for the moment, excluding the other 2 raids, let's not talk about it. Overtly depressed, passive-aggressive guy then plays a game other than Destiny and gets over 1 million views. I did not see this coming. Play. The invitation was simple, and I tried not to be put out by the "Sinner, Hope County, you're a sinner" welcome sign. I quickly become acquainted with all weapons and buttons. What does this do? Oh, it's dynamite. Boomer, I'd recommend you move. Too late. 10 seconds in, I've killed man's best friend. Just kidding, a simple pat of the hand resurrects him from the grave. My first target is I have an alarm over my head, but I don't work for Taco Bell alarm guy. Why bother shooting when you can see through walls and your companion is an unstoppable killing machine? Seriously, I like shooting bad guys who turned up Boomer's AI setting to literally God with paws. I'm feeling particularly aggressive, and I consider shooting her in the face for a moment before actually doing it and immediately fleeing the scene. I know what you're thinking, Jez, you idiot, why didn't you get in the all-American monster truck looking badass machine of badassery? Good question, I guess it just seemed too obvious, too easy. I've never been a vehicle guy, and also I'm just a f***ing moron who likes to make things as difficult as possible for himself. Mistakes were made. Take my plane and blow up some of them silos, no problem, Nick, but first, I'm trying to become a bit of a supervillain, it's nothing personal. Who stands that close to an exploding barrel? Apparently, no one told this bad guy what time to show up for the fight scene. I throw some dynamite and he decides to get back in his car. It doesn't end well for him. Seeing an innocent fisherman nearby, naturally, I try to brutally murder him with my plane's machine gun. Lucky for him, calm as a bitch, I get stuck, jam the propeller, and blow myself to smithereens. E3 demo quest completed, 2 hours past my deadline. To celebrate, I dive straight into the ground. Survive, cue cutscene, didn't I shoot this girl in the head earlier? She looks pretty good considering. Far Cry 5, 5 out of 5 stars on Amazon, as voted by the graphic design artist who came up with this logo. And finally, Destiny 2's campaign in a nutshell, part 1 and 2. 17 minutes is about 12 minutes too long in hindsight, and yes, I'm aware anything over 5 minutes with the word nutshell in the title is very ironic. Get jebaited, welcome to YouTube, where clickbait and a total disregard for the viewer's time is the name of the game, this video notwithstanding. This is the first conversation of many in which my guardian is obviously prompted for a response, yet says nothing because reasons or budget. Then I bump into Cade, who pops Golden Gun on 3 trash mob Cabal, a real waste in my opinion, then blinks away like a Year 1 Blade Dancer. RIP. This is Sparta, but way more gentle, Destiny 2 plus Tricorn logo, still not 100% sure what that thing is. I feel compelled to say something about Gary's much older friend, but I can't think of anything accurate that won't get this video demonetized. For now, I'll just say if my scrotum had a scrotum, he would be it. Shooting these rocks makes them spin. This is the kind of next-gen collision physics that I was hoping for in my sequel. Spoiler alert, I'm absolutely 100% insane. That's why they call me Jez the Insane, sane of all ins. English checks out. Also, there's a Bungie employee at a desk laughing hysterically as they smash AFK Guardians with giant balls. I want that job immediately. My business card would obviously read Jez the Ball Smasher, smasher of all balls. Kind of catchy. Gary gets deleted, no fight scene required, writing is hard. Suddenly, we're back at the tower. Is no one going to comment on what just happened? The speaker died, the traveler came back to life, among other things. No explanation at all. Just a silent understanding that this is Destiny and nothing ever makes sense. I don't mean to be critical, but after all, I'm Monotone complainy guy, and I 100% meant to be critical. And that brings us to today. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you made it this far. What nutshell videos would you like to see next? Please tell me in the comments. Content is hard, and truthfully, I have no effing clue what I'm doing. A warm thank you to the patrons on screen now. Despite the last month being bad for me on YouTube, I've not had to worry thanks to your support. That means more than I can say. Until next time, I am the Jez. God bless, you're super cute, I'm out. Before we proceed with subsequent nutshell videos, I feel it necessary to maintain the birth. Subsequent? How do you say subsequent? Every time, I cannot do it. I need to take 5. I can't. God damn it.